Good evening, my sisters. Good evening, good evening, good
Good
evening.
evening.
Happy Monday.
Yes,
Happy Monday.
grateful to see another Monday.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes,
Seems like it's
yes.
been so long, right, since we've been here. But
Yes,
good evening to all of you out there in YouTube world. This is the Woman to Woman show on the New You Nation Network. And we are here on Monday nights to sit and chat and share with you our perspectives as what we consider to be Gen X women, and just the day-to-day things that we have going on in our lives and in the world. And so we hope that something that we says tonight will touch you in a special way. And we're going to get started like we normally do by introducing ourselves and saying what we are grateful for. And so I guess I will start since I'm talking. My name is Theodora Carter. I am a certified life coach and HR consultant. I help women transform their lives. My motto is change your narrative and change your life. And I help small businesses that may not need an entire HR department with their HR needs. And so I am here and grateful tonight to, like you said, Netta, to see another Monday. I am grateful to see my beautiful sisters here tonight, and just excited about what we're going to talk about this evening.
yes. My name is Manetta Fields, and I am so excited to have the opportunity to share with each of you on this wonderful Monday night. I am the owner of Holistically Motivated, where we provide strategies, tips, and solutions on helping you live your best life, not just live it, but you live it using what God made as the gifts of the earth, because He made us and He made the products that we share. And so that helps us to reach our goals in a natural way. I'm also a certified coach using the Gallup Strengths. I'm a certified essential oil specialist. And we are just here grateful to serve each of you. I am super grateful tonight because my son has submitted over 100 applications for internships this summer. And finally, he received a call today that is promising, and they're sending him an offer letter. And it's as God would have it, he's done more than we expected. It exceeded any expectations that he had. So we are, as a family, grateful when things work out for our kids. We're happy. It's a good day.
Congratulations!
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, who's next? Introduce yourself and what are you grateful for?
Good evening. My name is Regina Booker, and I am the owner of Season and Fabulous, where we it's never too late for women of 50 and older, where we promote it's never too late to start what you're looking for, your journey, your new career, your passion, whatever it is. After all those kids, you've raised your kids. Maybe you're going into retirement, whatever it is, and whatever you want to start. Um, I'm excited because our first retreat is April 27th here in North Carolina. So excited about that. And I'm just grateful for, I guess, life. Just grateful for life to be above ground
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
because God still has work for me to do.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Oh, okay. Hey, y'all. I am Regina Howard Norman. I'm known as by some as Chef Regina, and I'm also known for my working with youth and families. I am the sole proprietor of Regina Howard Norman Unlimited, and I am working towards getting my LLC for Regina Howard Norman Unlimited. So I am super excited to have the opportunity to pour into our youth and their families. I believe in breaking boundaries and building futures.
So that is who I am. I'm also an author. I did an awesome collaboration with 11 other awesome women, and the book is called It's Your Time, Sis. And I'm super excited about finally putting some authentic experiences to share and to uplift and encourage other women that have gone through similar um, things that we've overcome. So I'm grateful for that. And I'm also grateful to be here tonight because I had to work a little late today. Um, so I'm really happy that we're here. I'm looking forward to what we're sharing this evening.
Nice, nice. So, our other sister friend, Sheila, is having a little technical difficulties, so she will join us when she can, and we'll have her introduce herself at that time. And so, ladies, happy Women History Month.
Woo! Round of applause for every woman.
That's
All
right.
Although we know it should be the year, but anyway, we'll. I'm always extra. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
So tonight we just gonna have a little fun, just talk about Women History Month and what it means, but most of all, talk about and share, about the women that have impacted our lives, right? And give them their flowers now, right? As opposed to when they're not here. So who wants to start? Who wants to kick this off?
Well, I will because the person I'm going to acknowledge, she is no longer here. However, every time I can mention her name, she is here because you won't forget Florence B. Howard, my grandmother. She is a huge inspiration to me. She was my first best friend. And I watched how she was a family person. She basically raised her children and then took on the responsibility of helping raise her grandchildren without being asked. She decided that she was going to pour into us and maybe give us something different or an extension of what she provided to her children. And what she taught me was common courtesy, the love of people, respecting your elders and loving the Lord and having good manners. And the way that she lived, she died when she was 101 years old.
Mm.
And I watched how she lived, how she cooked, how she ate. And the reason why I'm emphasizing this part right now is because she never had any health concerns.
Hmm?
She didn't have high blood pressure, hypertension, none of that. And so I find myself in the middle of 50, wait, wait, having a situation that I'm surprised about. I was told that I'm dealing with like potentially, high blood pressure. They say don't claim it, but the reality is I'm not claiming it. I'm addressing it to not make it an issue. But she taught me how she lived and the way she ate. My grandmother ate well. Before we were talking about balancing and not eating too much or doing too much of this or that. She lived it. She was a living example of how to eat in balance, how to balance not eating too much proteins versus all of that stuff that we got paid for. She did it and I got it for free. So what I'm doing now, in honor of what she did by showing me, I'm now sharing my journey of how I'm fighting back, dealing with high blood pressure and taking the medication. I'm going to do some of the things she did. I'm going to take care of my health. I'm going to exercise more. I'm taking the eating better. I'm doing intermittent fasting, which I never thought I'd do. So, and all of this was from watching her, but I also was encouraged by sisters in my life to say, hey, I know you can do your own thing, but how about putting in some things that can help your quality of your life? So Florence B. Howard, my grandmother, my inspiration, my first best friend, who taught me it doesn't cost you anything to smile and treat people nice. she is the woman one of the women that I choose to honor this evening.
Nice. Woo. Regina. Oh, Sheila. Hi, Sheila.
Hey,
Hey,
Sheila.
So, Sheila, go ahead, introduce yourself and tell us what you're grateful for.
good evening, everyone. My name is Sheila Isom. As you can see, I'm the one that's having technical difficulty here. So forget the laptop, forget the tablet, go to the phone. So I am a long-term insurance claims professional. I am also a Color Street nail strips stylist. We sell nail polish strips, an alternative to going to your salons, do it yourself nail polish. And I am also a notary public. So since this is Women's History Month, I am grateful for all of the women who, whether biologically or socially or environmentally, who I call my mother, who I call my grandmother, my aunts and aunties, and my sisters.
Nice.
Love that.
All right. So we were just sharing women that have impacted. Well, that's how we started, right? Have impacted our lives. And so Gina just finished. And so who's next?
I'll go next. I have so many, it's hard to choose.
I'm like all of them go. And,
That's a good thing.
Oh my goodness. So the one that I choose to highlight now is this beautiful woman.
oh,
It's
nice.
my grandmother holding my eye.
Ah,
You see my grandmother there?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Her name was Calvert Morrow Hall. And she is a phenomenal woman. I say is because she impacted those of us who are left.
Yeah.
She had to drop out of school, and I believe it was 6th grade, to help care for her younger siblings because she was the oldest. And my grandfather was no longer present, so it was my grandmother raising her children, and she needed help. So my grandmother stopped going to school. But in that, she still had such a love of learning. And so when I would spend summers with her, she instilled the love of reading in me. Someone who didn't have an opportunity to continue her education still held on to the love of learning and passed it on to me. And to this day, I absolutely love to read. My grandmother would sit on the couch after completing her task for the day and sit me next to her, and she would read to me, and then it challenged me to read back to her.
Nice.
And so I remember us spending summers, and she didn't have a car. She didn't drive. So everywhere we went, we walked. And she had this cart. And I was excited to help her in any way I could. So I would pull the cart because we would go to the grocery store, the Piggly Wiggly in South Carolina, and get our groceries. And it was not close by. And we would walk, get those groceries. We would stop under a tree because she would spend a little money to get us an ice pop because it was hot. And make our way on. And after she prepared food for us, after we went to the store to get it, prepared the food, fed us, then we would walk to church, which was on the other side of town.
Oh, wow.
And what was interesting is she never harbored or expressed harboring ill will against those that drove past us, that were going to the same place. And so she taught me so many lessons just in that one story I shared with you.
Wow.
About perseverance, about gratitude in whatever state you're in, about forgiveness, about tenacity. I mean, she just was so strong with all of the challenges of life. And she was taking care of my grandfather, who had a heart attack the year I was born. And
Wow.
I had never known him to be healthy.
Wow.
So she had all of this on her, but always had a smile. She always was encouraging those that we were passing along the way. I could go on about my grandmother, Calvert Mara Hall, but now you understand why she's one of my heroes as a woman in Women's History Month.
But now we understand why you are who you are also.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Which is amazing. I think it's, we could like I said, we could celebrate women all year, right? Because if we were to think about just the individuals in our lives, whether they were aunts or grandmothers, mothers, sisters, friends, right? The people along in your career that you've met, right? And just all of the qualities that you mentioned, right? About just teaching you how to persevere and how, because we can get down and out so quickly, right?
Mhm.
But when you were just talking about everything, right, that your grandmother did, right, without complaining, it's like, wow, right? So, so who's next? Sheila?
Well, yeah, I'll go. I want to talk about my mother, who I do miss dearly because she is no longer with us. And that even though it's been over 20 years, you still feel the void.
Mm.
But my mother wasn't an easy person to get along with. However, there were some things that she taught us that are totally invaluable. Um, she taught us that we were ladies.
Mm.
Okay? So you had to dress a certain way. You had to present yourself a certain way when you were out in public and when you were at home and when you were around adults. Um, she taught us that you represent not only yourself when you go out, you represent your family. So those are the kind of things that have always stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something to be said for old-fashioned ways and old-fashioned values, because my mother was a disciplinarian, right? She didn't hesitate to make you go out and get your own switch. And some of y'all know what I'm talking about. You didn't get the right switch, you had to go back out. And that made her even madder. Because even though it was the wrong switch, now she's going to use that one with the right switch, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, that's because that's the way that she was brought up.
Mm-hmm.
But the lesson behind it all was that this is not how you were going to act as long as you're being raised in this household. And nothing should ever come back to me while you're in school, at somebody else's house, in a store, in a restaurant, about your behavior, because I'm going to take care of that, because this is how you were raised. So I thank my mother for that. Didn't understand all of it at the time, and a lot of it did not like. But my sisters and my brother and I, we live by the way that we were raised, and we raise our children that same way. And we anticipate, expect, and hope and pray that our children will raise their children the same way. Because at the end of the day, it makes us functional adults with good hearts and with purpose.
Nice. Hey, Trey Kearney.
Oh.
She in the comments. Trey in the
Yeah,
comments.
I see now. Hey, Trey. Thought she was coming on.
Yeah. So Regina, you just celebrated what, your mom's
90th birthday.
90th
My
birthday.
mom's 90th birthday.
Ooh, beautiful.
That's
And
beautiful.
that would be my Shiro, one of them. Like Sheila, my mom was not the easiest person to get along with, but she was easy for me.
Mhm.
But my mom taught me life skills.
Mm.
Um, for instance, when I was old enough, she taught me how to act, how to dress, the same things, but she also taught me life skills. When I got my old enough to get my bank account, she took me into the bank, showed me how to get my bank account, held that down, showed me how to balance my bank account. My first job took me in to get my first job. Always have your own pen. During that time, there was no
Mhm.
computers was just coming out, so
Yeah.
do not take a bunch of your friends with you. You go by yourself. You look
Mhm.
presentable. And the one thing that stuck in my mind: never, ever, ever ask a employer for a pen. That stuck in my head because you're not prepared.
Mhm.
When I became a manager,
Wow.
and they would ask me for a pen, that like you don't have a pen, you can't. That was one of the things, and just other life skills, and also when we went on vacations, the different types of things, how you went on vacation as a lady, you would have certain types of pajamas, you would have your own cosmetic, just all different
Mhm.
types of things that you would, how to write a letter, how these are things that people don't even think that you would need to know. And I was surprised, because I mentor girls as well,
Mm.
and I
Okay.
had my girls write a letter to themselves as one of the assignments. Write a letter to yourself,
Mm.
to self love skills. My girls didn't know how to address
Mm,
them. I was like, oh my goodness. So therefore, I told them I was going to mail it and send it to them. I couldn't even mail the letters. One of the parents was in the room. They know how to do it. I said, I trust me. When I brought the letter back and showed her, she was like, I don't think they teach that in school. And they did, I don't know. My mom taught me, but I must have learned it in school as well. But my mom made sure to go. Those are types of things, but just life skills in
Mhm.
general. And I'm happy for that. And I had three brothers. I was the only girl. She taught not only me, but my brothers as well. But she just made sure that we had life skills. And the other thing that she taught: always have your own, even if you get married, have your own money.
Mhm.
mhm,
Now that was, you never
Valuable
have
lesson.
your husband, but you don't know. Have your own. Have your own tucked to the
Yeah.
side. You try to do this thing together, but don't be caught out. You make sure you take care of yourself. So those are life skills that I really appreciate my mom for.
Wow.
So,
All right. So I guess it's on me. I'm like you, Netta. There are so many people I could think of, but I will say, my aunties, right? Um, and now I think I only have like two of them that are left, but one's 90, one will be 96 this month, and the other will be 100. No, I keep making her 100. She'll be 99. Yeah, I think she will be 100 in November. Yeah, so my other aunt will be 100, but just the two of them, like just growing up, my dad's, and even my other aunts who are no longer here, but I think just, they were all different, had all different personalities, right? But, and it's funny because I was just spotlighted in church on Sunday, and they asked me like if I could think of any words of wisdom, which I'm gonna ask you guys next, right? That a woman had shared with you, and I was like, I don't know so much if it was words of wisdom, but it was just watching them,
mm,
watching the way they moved, right? Watching, how they navigated life, right? And sometimes challenges, but also just enjoying it, right? Like, and how they encourage, like just me to be me, right? Like you, I love to read, right? So how they encourage that, how, you know, I just, and like one of my aunts, like I think like she's an angel on earth, man. Like it's like she doesn't see anything wrong, like anything that you like. I don't care what the person is doing, she will find something good in that person, right? So I think just having that foundation of just strong, and I hate using the word strong, right? Because I feel like it makes us feel like we can't, deal with challenges, but it was women that had to grow in a time where they didn't have some of the privileges that we have and take for granted, right? But they didn't complain. They took care of their families. They fed them with whatever amount of money they had, right? They put the meals on the table. They raised their children with love. And so I would say, there's so many outside of, my aunts, but I would say if I had to think of anybody, it would be my aunts, right? So my next question for you ladies is, right? Can you recall a piece of advice or wisdom from a woman that has stayed with you throughout your life?
Yes, I have a couple of them that come to mind.
And how has it shaped your life?
It helped me face challenges in life with a different lens.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll understand that more when I tell you what the statements are.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is, where you are is not where you have to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And so that alone, it's like,
That's good.
okay, this is temporary.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'm speaking in terms of challenging times.
Yeah.
It's not going to always be like this, right? The sun will come out tomorrow, all of those things.
Yeah.
And the other statement is, there's very little value in other people's opinions.
Mm-hmm. But those are timeless statements, right? Mm-hmm. So I hope anybody that's listening now, right, they heard the first one and even this one, right? Because both of those are timeless statements, right?
And you're talking about, these words come from, I've always been drawn to older women. I love to sit at the feet of wisdom, and I don't have to experience everything to know, good things when I hear them. I just want to listen and learn. These come from women who were in times that were so challenging for those of their gender and race. But yet they stood firm, they stood tall, they walked with confidence. And I got to see that, not necessarily during the roughest of times in terms of our nation, but the after effects, who they became through that process, I got to glean from. And so I don't want to lose those lessons. I don't want to drop those nuggets and let them not grow. I pour them into young women if they listen, especially my own daughter. And I'm sure that's a part of the conversation we'll get into later. But those are two statements that really resonate, and I get to chew on that every day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Anyone else?
I think about my mom. She, when I was a young mother, she used to see me doing everything I did it for my children. They were like front and center. They were the priority. And one day she came to visit, and she looked at me. She said, she said, I know you love your children, and that's beautiful. She said, but sometimes you have to make some time for yourself. And, I was like, well, my priority, everything was about making sure I did the best I could as a mom. But as I got older, I realized that there were times when I needed a time out, and not to feel guilty about taking that time out, because that's what helped restore me so I could get back in and be the best version of myself for my children. So initially, when she said that, I was like, I felt that it was a selfish thing to say
Mm,
because I was coming from this place of, I'm a mom, that's my job, that's it. Everything I do revolves around doing that. But as I got older, I realized that was some of the best advice that she's given me tons of advice on other things. But as a mom, that was one of the best things that she told me. It's like you
Mhm.
have to, even if it's just 15 minutes, you steal away while the children are having dinner or something like that, but make time for yourself. So it was a little hard for me to do, but now as I'm older and they're adults, I realized the importance of doing that, and I'm glad that they saw me do that because they treat me, they enjoy spending time with me, and they enjoy, and they don't take it for granted, because I gave them everything, but I also let them know when I needed time for myself, and I think because of that, I showed them how to treat me
Mm-hmm.
as their mother. Um, so I think that was one of the best things I heard. Uh, that is not a selfish thing. One of the selfless things you can do is to take care of you so that you can be a better version of who you're working towards, whether it's a mom or, a professional. But in this case, it was as a mom. So I really appreciated when she told me that. Not at that moment, but as I got older and my children got older, I began to appreciate the wisdom of what she said to me. Maxine Duff is her name. That's my mom.
mhm.
Nice. Anyone else? Sheila, any
Yeah,
words of wisdom?
yeah. Mine is like a real simple mantra, and I'm thinking probably, lots of women have either said this to me or I've overheard them say it, and I can think back to my mother maybe not using those exact words, but like I can recall even when I was a child one day and I was crying because I couldn't find anybody to play with, and she in her own way was basically telling me, girl, go on outside and play. You don't need anybody else. And so from that, it's like going, saying, telling, hearing over and over again that you're okay to do things on your own
Mm-hmm.
and that you don't have to do what everybody else does. You don't have to go where everybody else goes. Um, and from there, I learned about individuality, right? Growing within myself. I was very active. Um, I sought out things that I wanted to do. Probably didn't even know what self-esteem was, but I'm sure that I lacked some of it and was trying to find it in other places.
Mm,
But that didn't stop me from realizing that I could be me at an early age.
mm, that's good.
Mm.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
And just think about, right, when you think about all, like, as you guys was talking, I'm like, right, all of the things you mentioned are relevant, right, in this day and
Yeah,
age,
yeah,
right? And it just makes me think about how we impact the women that are coming after us, right? Which this show does, right, as well,
Mhm.
right? I mean, we say it's this is the woman to woman show, and it's geared towards Gen X, but anyone is welcome to listen in, and so just think about, right, the just those little nuggets that hopefully somebody catches on to and gleans as we talk. And so, Regina, you have any words of wisdom?
Well, my mom, I remember the one time, um, my mom, I was having a situation and I called her. Like I said, she was a strong, strong woman. And I was having a breakup in my just graduated from college. And I thought my whole world was falling apart. And her words of wisdom is, you got a great job. just graduated from college, you got a degree. Girl, if you don't pull up yourself and slap yourself in the face, you better get on and do what you need to do. You ain't got time to worry about no man. And I'm sitting here like, but that made me such a strong woman. I mean, it's like, okay, you cry for 5 minutes and you get over. I'm not saying that's not always going to be the answer, but I took that advice for so many things in my life. That particular moment when she told me that, of course, it was over a man. However, different situations. Okay, you got about 10 minutes to cry about this, and you got to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
In so many situations. And that helped me, because you get disappointed in a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have your moments that you're going to have a pity party, but you got to figure it out. It's not always going to be easy, but you can't let it, life is life, and you just have to figure it out. So that was kind of
But
and
that's good though. I mean, you just like really help somebody right now. I feel like it, right? Because how many of us, even if we heard that, right? That breakup came and right. And so there's somebody out there that's right now, whether it's a breakup, whether it's a loss of a job, right? Whatever it is, right? It's that resilience, right?
That's resilience, and that is my girl track name, Trace, because that is my name, Resilient Regina.
Okay.
That's confirmation, because that is what we in girl track, we have to pick an adjective that starts with our name, the first letter of our name, and that is mine, resilient.
Well, tell them what girl track is.
Oh, girl track is, and we just had our opening ceremony is Harriet Tubman Day. That's how we start our season off, because March 10th was the anniversary of her death. So we started off, and that is our whatever you call it, when you matriarch of whatever. That's who we model our program around. So it is the largest national walking organization for Black women and girls. It's over 1 million girls in this organization, and it's free. So we walk. If you walk 30 minutes a day. And 2 young girls started it this, Morgan and Vanessa. They started it, just 2 friends thinking about Black women's health, and it has grown over. I think they started in 2009, something like that. Where's my battery going on? Hold on, y'all. It says my battery's going on. I have it. Oh no, I don't. Wait a minute.
You gonna let her take care of her technical situations?
Yeah, everybody. I thought it.
Right. And we're gonna move on. So, talk to me about mentorship. Are any of you do any of you mentor other women?
I got it. I got it in. Yes, I'm a mentor too. And funny thing, things just come out. A guy at my church called me yesterday and asked me, he goes, I know you do a lot of mentoring. He says, because I'm on the outreach team. And he said, we're having a young lady come out of prison, and I wanted to know if you want to mentor her. And I was like, oh my God. And he said, I thought of you because I know you mentor. So that's like a blessing to me, a challenge, but a blessing. But I mentor usually young girls, but this is, I'm like, God, what are you doing now? This is a young lady, but basically starting over. So I don't know what it's going to be, but I told him I'm willing to look at it and do it. But that was like a God moment. I was like, you thought of me, like this is my next assignment.
But that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's kind of big, but I just threw that out there. But typically, I mentor young girls.
Nice. Anyone else? Anyone else mentor
I wouldn't say that I have an official mentor title, but given the opportunity, I'm going to do it.
Hmm.
I think it's us having our ear to God's mouth, knowing when we're supposed to speak, when we're supposed to move, who we're supposed to pour into. And mentoring doesn't have to be an older, younger situation. You know, mentoring can occur at any age. I am a business mentor for some that are just starting. Am a mentor for young ladies. I'm a mentor for some of my friends who are older than I am. So I just feel like we all can fill that role for someone because we've learned some lessons along the way, and why keep them to ourselves?
Right.
And so, like I said, it may not be an official title, but if you're pouring, if you're encouraging, if you're uplifting, if you're guiding, you're mentoring.
Mhm.
Right.
But I mean, but that's the thing, right? Like, it doesn't have to be an official title. It's the way you carry yourself. It's really just being available to encourage other people and listen, right? And guide someone that's open, right?
Yeah.
Because not everybody is open to
Correct.
it, but pouring into someone else. So, but for those of you who are just joining us, this is a woman to woman show on the New You Nation Network. We thank you for tuning in, and we're just here celebrating Women History Month. We're talking about women that have impacted our lives and how we try to pay it forward and impact those that are in our lives as well. And so, have you ever faced a challenge or an obstacle that someone helped you overcome, like whether it was your mom, someone at church, like how has someone in your life, a woman in your life, impacted you as you were dealing with a situation that you thought just might break you?
Whew. Okay. It's going to be around my children because, I just said, like, right. So, I had a favorite teacher in school, one of my favorite, Miss Robinson. And she was my dance teacher when I went to elementary school. And then fast forward, she became the assistant principal where my children went to elementary school. So I really looked to her. And when she saw me, she's like, Regina, I'm like, you remember me, Miss Roberts? So I was geeking out. She was a ballet dancer, and she, awesome, awesome lady. Um, I was going through stuff trying to balance. I had three children in school at one time, and then I had my youngest one, and I'm in transition between going back to work and stuff like that. And if you have more than one child, you could there's always some stuff going on. And so I had more than one child, y'all. I had a couple. And I was like, I was like, what in the fiddlesticks is going on right now? She would let me come into her office and sit down, and she would just, talk to me, encourage me, give me some tips. She would let me know, you are doing a wonderful job. Um, these are some things you can do. So she was really like a godsend at that time. And I mean, I'm blessed to say I have a lot of women that have poured into me, but I remember especially um, with my children because they were wonderful, smart, and challenging. And so, and I was always available because at one point I was a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
So I was there, all you had to do was blink. It was like State Farm is here. Yeah, Regina's mom is, there. So, but I was there because I knew I needed to be actively engaged. But I was like, well, you know, before I can even get to the school, I'm getting a call about one. And then I was like, wait, what? No, this is not how we do this. And she was like, calm down and stuff. And it's it's really a blessing when you have someone that knows you that long. First of all, I was lucky for her to know me as a child and to see me as a parent,
Yeah.
and then be able to pour into me and look out for my children. you just have to be thankful for those things, because those are the bridges, those are the stair steps that help me as a mother, as an engaged parent, to really be present. And you got to have people uh, that kind of hold you along the way in those steps that you walk in your journey. And
Mhm.
she was one of those foundational steps. So Miss Robinson was a beautiful assistant principal, a beautiful person, a beautiful woman. Um, and I'm so glad that she took her time to be there for me and for my children. And it was like, wow, this is crazy. Like, what? So, yeah,
That's cool. It's
yeah.
cool that you remember her name too.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
never forget her. Some people you just don't forget.
That's
That's how
true.
awesome they are. You will never forget. I remember like 10 of my teachers because they were just amazing.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and the women were dynamic.
While
Nice.
we're on that topic of teachers, can we just shout teachers out?
Yes.
Yes,
Because
let's shout them out.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
Oh my goodness. I celebrate every person because they are parenting a whole bunch of kids who are not their own
Yep.
Yes,
a lot of time. And you, you just have to celebrate those that show up with pure intentions, pure heart, and
yes.
serve the community. It brought back to mind a teacher, my first grade teacher, Miss Freeze. And this is important for those who may be in situations where there's no one around like you who looks like you.
Mm.
Um, so growing up, I only was around my family, until time to go to school.
Right.
And then when I went to school, there was no one there that I knew because I had tested out. And so I got placed in certain classrooms and no one looked like me. And
Mm.
we're talking about the South, okay?
Mm.
And I remember we used to have to rest on a mat at a certain period of time during the day in first grade. And I was resting on the mat, and the entire class moved to the other side of the room.
Mm.
Mm.
And so I was alone on the side of the room. And the tears, because I thought something was wrong with me. And so I wasn't crying audibly, but the tears were falling. And there was one little girl who scooted her mat back over closer to me. And she said, "You guys, she's crying." And so my teacher heard what was happening. And at that point, she paid special attention to me because she realized it. And she started, I could clean the board or I could be her helper, this type of thing. So she was trying to take a situation that was difficult for me and encourage me through it without bringing attention to it.
Yeah.
But this was also the teacher who my mom was having my little brother during that year. And so when my mom had the baby, you had your share time. And I was talking about my baby brother that came. This teacher stayed late to bring me home so she could meet my brother.
Oh wow.
Oh,
And so I just say shout out to the teachers who are in tune, who can see, when situations are happening and don't just push it under the rug or ignore it, because that really could have made a big difference in how I showed up in school.
Mm-hmm.
right,
Yep.
But
right.
because she was in tune and she watched what happened, I don't know what else she did, but I didn't experience that again.
Mm.
So
Wow.
those are memories you don't forget things like that. You don't forget, I think it's Maya that says you may forget what they say, what they do, but not how it makes you
How it
feel.
make you
Well,
feel. That's
Yep.
right.
that's it. Maya Angelou.
That's my
Let's honor
Angelou.
her. Let's honor Maya Angelou.
Yes. And
Yes.
while I'm sharing this story, I mean, how long ago is that? But I'm emotional about that because the empathy, you can
Yep.
put
Yes.
yourself back in that kid's spot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm really big to this day. I don't like people being left out.
Mm,
That, and
I
I'm
feel
sure
the same
that
way.
helps shape how I feel about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure.
Wow.
All right, so we are approaching our 5 minute mark. So I'm gonna let you guys go around and share your last, tidbits and advice or what you have to give to the audience out there. And for those of you watching, just a reminder: this is the Woman to Woman show on the New You Nation Network. If you have not liked and subscribed yet, please like and subscribe and join us here Mondays. I think the next Monday we'll be here is what, the 25th?
25th.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So
So I'll start. So, you know, years ago, I was watching a friend who I've known for years move throughout social media. And, I noticed that she wasn't afraid to speak her mind, right? And she was bringing up topics that people were not talking about on social media because it was social media and who was supposed to be serious and who was on social media except for people that are hawking books and videos and things like that, who is actually out there talking to people about what's going on in life, right? And then all of a sudden, that friend, as part of her vision, decided that one of the ways that she was going to help people, right? Because it was a way of helping herself too in her personal journey. As she became a life coach, she put out a post talking about New You Nation and mansions and all this kind of stuff, right? So
yes.
I was like, I trust her because after a while, especially when you've seen a person grow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen this person grow.
Mm-hmm.
I knew how she was 10, 15 years before. So to see now the change and what God was doing in her life, I was like, you know what? I'm on board because it's time for me to start doing some alternative thinking. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the foundation was set in Christ. So 3 years ago, almost, I met, with the help of Trey Carney, I met Theodore Carter. I met Monetta. I met Regina. And I met Gina. And in a lot of rooms that I move in, I'm one of the older people in the room, for the more mature people in the room. But one of the things that it continued to reinforce in me is that when you meet phenomenal people who touch your soul, it doesn't matter how old you are, how old they are, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Their gift is coming out and their gift is shining into you and pouring into you. So I am happy to be part of this New You Nation, right? Because the women that I sit on this panel with have inspired me
Mm.
and continue to inspire me, have poured into me, have made me dream, and made me realize that it is never too late. So the women that have impacted me are the women that are on this show right now. And I thank you and I love you, my sisters.
Thank
Oh
you.
man.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
That's
Oh, that was
it.
That's
beautiful.
it.
That's it. That's it.
I just had to get that out because it's all Trey's vision.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and we all love her dearly, and we all know that what she is doing, not only in her life but in ours.
Yes.
And we are here
Absolutely.
for it wholeheartedly. And I can't imagine my life without you ladies.
Thank
Oh,
you. We
thank you.
appreciate
Man,
you
man,
for sure.
it's good. It
And
is.
big shout out to the
Yeah.
one, the only, the original Trey Curry.
Great party. Yeah.
Amen. That's right.
Yeah, like that's it. Like that. No, I have nothing else to say. Like you,
Yeah.
I
Go
mean,
Mike. That's it.
Truth plus transparency. That's it.
you just gonna drop the mic.
That's it. That's it. We're talking about women. Let's I'm giving you your flowers because
Yes.
of what you are doing in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I think it's important, right? Like for anyone that's listening right now, right? There's that myth that women, especially Black women, right, cannot get along or we don't support one another. It is truly a myth, right? And we are an example and a testament to the fact that no, not only can we get along, but we can support one another, we can encourage one another, we can work together and collaborate and do big things. And so yes, I mean, Trey Kearney, we salute you.
Yes. We bow, girlfriend.
Yes. Because
Oh,
this has been an amazing experience. Like
absolutely.
I said, like I wouldn't listen. I'm sure none of us would be sitting here on this platform if one she didn't make us do it. Honestly,
Right.
right. So yeah. So Sheila, you shut it down.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's time to, like we end every show. What do we say, right, Theo?
Right. We say
Truth plus
Transparency equals healing.
Healing.
Good
have a
night.
wonderful
Good night.
night. We'll see you again
Good
on
night, all.
March 25th at
Good night,
8
y'all.
p.m. Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Good night.